This should be called Silly Things to Save Your Life, but we're gonna go with something a little more friendly. So this is a very random list of things that I've come up with that have saved me numerous times over the years, and I figured maybe you guys could benefit from this a little bit too. So without further ado, let's just get into it. Number 1 on the list is one of these guys, a lint roller. I don't know about you, but I shoot a lot of things involving people, and people will just naturally have lint or hair or anything on their clothes that can take a lot of time in the edit to get rid of. So just taking a quick second with a lint roller, getting all of that off, can save you tons of time later in post, and overall just makes you look more professional too, because hey, you're thinking about the client and you want to make sure everything looks good, and time is money, so lint rollers, use them, love them. I usually use a smaller one than this to carry with me, just something nice and compact and portable. I keep them literally everywhere. That's not just because I have a cat, but I'll keep them in the car, I'll keep them in my camera bag, I'll keep them right here on my desk. Literally everywhere I go, chances are there is a lint roller with me. Number 2 on the list, I usually have a small thing of various medications, Advil, etc. with me just in case I'm on a shoot for a long day and I have a headache or something like that. Just something to allow me to keep going, especially if I'm having a particularly hard day or if my allergies are bugging me, anything like that, just to make the day go easier and make sure everybody's happy. Because you know, when you have a headache and you're there on set, you can kind of get grumpy and tensions run high. So if you can eliminate that quick and easy, everybody will be happier. Going now to everybody's favorite thing, tripod plates. Why I always carry extras of them? Well, we've all had those instances where you're there, you're out on a shoot, you're setting up your tripod, you go to put your camera on it, and you look down and there's no plate on your camera, there's no plate on the tripod, and you think, okay, it must be somewhere in my bag. So I look through the entire bag trying to find this thing, and it's nowhere to be found, and now you are stuck either hand holding a shot that'll make it unsteady or just undesirable, or you need to find a way to attach your camera to the tripod without a plate, and that just generally never goes well. So I always keep an additional 1, 2, 3 of these in my bag for any kind of tripod that I use, that I have with me, just so that way whenever I'm in a pinch and maybe forget after I take it off the camera, I still have an extra one there ready to go. Now, moving on to number 4 is something that pretty much anybody who has worked with me or assisted alongside me, anything like that, would know, because I've used these so often. They always come in handy. I'm even using some just outside of the frame in this video for various purposes, and that is clothes pegs and small little kind of spring clamps to use for anything. You know, maybe you need to set up a bit of a flag somewhere, or somebody's jacket isn't quite fitting right, so you need to pull it a little bit tighter. You don't have anything to hold that in place. Well, simply if you just have a clothes peg, otherwise known as a C47 for all my film nerds out there, or just a little clamp, you can easily set something up or tighten some clothing. Just, it makes the day go by easier, and it's just something that is so simple and is usually an afterthought, but can really save you in a pinch. Now, this next one may sound a little weird, but I always carry around some form of collapsible chair or stool with me. Now, this has multiple different uses. You can set one up if you need to get a higher angle for any reason, or if you need the talent to be a little taller for any particular reason, or if you're doing a shoot in studio and you're going to be there for a long time, camera on a tripod kind of locked off like that. Sometimes you just need to sit down for a bit, or sit down behind the camera, anything like that. It will save you in a pinch, and it will save your knees. Now, this next one, everybody's been thinking a lot of lately, but it's something that I always carried with me regardless, even before the whole pandemic thing happened, and that is hand sanitizer. You can get a whole bunch of little various ones just to carry with you, because especially out on location, sometimes we get dirty, sometimes we're in not the cleanest places, and also germs are a thing. We just want to make sure to sanitize and be safe. So that's just a handy way to do so, and always having that also available for your team is a great asset. It also makes you look more professional, but it makes more sense now than ever. So if you weren't doing it before, I highly suggest you do it now. This next one may seem a little unconventional to some of you, but if you've ever seen a call sheet or anything like that, you'll be familiar with this, and it is a list of emergency services which usually includes where the nearest hospital is, and having this readily available for your team. So that way, if anything does go south, especially if you're working on your own or just with an assistant or two, it's always good to have these things readily available. Should anything go wrong, you know where these facilities are, and you're able to have a plan to have that taken care of and make sure that everybody at the end of the day is safe and taken care of. Hopefully you never have to use it, but you do not want to be in the situation where you need it and you don't have it. This next one might be a little bit surprising for some of you, but it has helped me in a pinch, and it could do the same for you, and that is having small bottles of cologne or scents on you, especially when you're working for long hours and long days, especially if it's a really hot day and, you know, by the end of it everybody's sweaty and kind of stinky. You don't want to be the stinkiest person there, and just having a little bit of cologne or something like that, you can even get the free samples and use those as you please. It's just something that can help you in a pinch. Now, that said, also be aware of when you are in a scent-free environment. You obviously wouldn't want to use those there, so be respectful of your surroundings, and overall use your best judgment in this case. And this next one kind of plays off of the tripod plate thing a little bit, and that is having a coin or a screwdriver, or ideally some kind of multi-tool on you at all times, because we've all been there when we have the plate for the camera, we have the camera, and it has that little slot on it, and you're trying to get it on the camera, and it just won't go, because you need a coin, you need a screwdriver, and then, you know, you need to look around. Worst case scenario, you need to go to the client being like, hey, do you have a quarter, do you have $1, so I can screw this in? That doesn't look good on anybody, and you just don't want that. So if you carry around a couple coins with you, a screwdriver, ideally a multi-tool, then that way in a pinch you'll be taken care of and you won't need to worry about having that scenario come up. Finally, the last one, it is cables. I carry around every kind of phone charger that exists with me. Now you might be thinking, why would you do that? That's a lot of cables and a lot to carry around. Typically I have it fairly well organized, and it doesn't take up too much room in my bag, so I really don't mind. And it can come in especially handy when the client is looking around being like, hey, I have this kind of phone, does anybody have a charger? Mine's about to die. And you can be like, yep, what kind of phone do you have? Pull out the cord and there you go. Myself, I carry around just about every type of cable there is. I don't even have an iPhone, yet I carry around a lightning cable for these cases where anybody on my team, the client, etc. will have a phone that's dying and I can be in there to save the day. It looks really good on you, and it just helps everybody in the long run. So those are 9 unconventional things that I always carry around with me in my camera bag, in my kit, and I think you could really benefit from implementing some of these in yours. If you have any unconventional things that you carry around with me, let me know down in the comments. If you have any unconventional things that you carry around with you that I didn't list here today, let me know down in the comments. We can all benefit from some of these little tips and tricks along the way. Now, with all that said, show some love to that like button, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified when I post new videos, and I'll see you on the next one.